Bueller. Bueller. Bueller.
Hi, this is Ferris Bueller.
Ferris Bueller is online too.
It's Ed Rooney, Ferris. Ferris.
Hi, Ferris.
Ferris Bueller, little twerp.
Ferris
Bueller.
Ferris Bueller, do you know him?
And remember who you're dealing with.
Bueller. Ferris Bueller.
He's a righteous dude.
I'm taking the day off. Now get dressed and come on over.
With Ferris Bueller, I wanted to do a film that showed someone for whom life was easy, that they weren't beset with problems. They weren't labored with all of the difficulties that everyone else is. And I really just wanted to do something that was show the positive values of not taking yourself quite so seriously, which is one of the great problems of that age, is that you tend to take yourself very, very seriously, and that there are times when you would benefit by not taking yourself quite so seriously.
Save Ferris, save Ferris. Save Ferris Bueller?
Ferris Bueller is a hero in this school. I mean, everybody knows who Ferris Bueller is. He's fun. He like some people, he attracts good things. There are people, and I'm sure everybody knows somebody who lives a life that is bigger than normal. And Ferris is one of these people.
Ferris Bueller to John is sort of he's more than a person. He's an attitude and a way of life and sort of a leader of men, I think.
He's so great in this movie. He's so charming and funny and appealing that there's no Ferris without Matthew. You know, it's just one of those things where the part and the actor merge.
Matthew's a New Yorker. His dad and his mom were both in the theater. So he came from a tradition and a background that I certainly recognize. And he started as a theater actor. At a young age, understood showing up on time, knowing your lines, being consistent, working with others. It's not all about me, 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 me. So we got on great because we were both on the same page about making this thing work.
He's a very good actor, and I liked what he was doing on Broadway. He was addressing the audience in the Neil Simon plays. He would step out of character and address the audience, and go back right into character. And I felt that he would be comfortable with the convention of addressing the camera, which is not an easy thing to do, because basically you're acting to a piece of glass for someone who will see it a year later. It's a very unusual thing.
One really fun thing about that movie I remember is shooting all the stuff from the beginning and the end of the movie, you know, where I'm alone in the house talking to the camera a lot. Since there were no other actors there and there was most of the shots were very simple, my memory is we were just making stuff up as we went along, and that was such a pleasure to be able to do. And I remember John saying, you work best when you're alone. But that was amazingly fun.
So much of a character depends on the character of the person playing it. Actors always like to think that they can, I can do anything. I can be taller, I can be smaller, I can be older, whatever. You are what you are, and you bring with it who you are. So Matthew brought with him his particularly quirky, peculiar style, which he had right from the outset. That was him. But also it was just because of Matthew's persona and how he delivers lines that made it so charming.
I appreciate your understanding.
Don't think twice. It's understanding that makes it possible for people like us to tolerate a person like yourself.
I think he was a great choice for that part because he came out of the womb cracking wise. This is why Matthew is kind of like Ferris Bueller. We did wardrobe tests on Michigan Avenue in Chicago. And the day after the wardrobe tests, I came into the rehearsal room, and Mia was there, and she was just as quiet as could be. And John was there, and John was very quiet. And one of the producers was there, Michael Chinich. And I said, "What's wrong?" And Michael Chinich said, "Well, we saw the wardrobe tests, and there's no chemistry." And I didn't know what to say. I got very scared because I thought it's my first really big part, and I'm going to get fired before we start because it's just not happening, right? And Mia and I just said, "Well, we don't know what to say. We're ready. We know we've done our homework. We're prepared. We're ready to go."
I just remember somebody saying that we hadn't sparkled enough, and I just said I didn't know that we were supposed to sparkle. I didn't know to sparkle when I was, you know, I thought it was about the clothes.
And that was exactly true. It's just that, you know, everybody, it doesn't matter if you're the director of a film or producer of a film, everybody's nervous, you know, because you don't know what's going to happen. And he completely put everyone at ease, like that. And then it was all okay, you know, because he's so confident. And Matthew is blessed with effortless charm.
There is a charm about Matthew. And there was such a effortlessness that John creates on the set. I know when we were doing the scene with him in bed, both scenes, the beginning and the end, like the scene where we're tucking him in at the end, and I tuck him in, and he goes, "The blanket." I had actually forgotten. I was supposed to pull the blanket up, and I'd forgotten, but it was such a charming moment. It just made it more real, you know. Blinky. Oh, there was just kind of a love affair going on the set between the entire cast.
You know, I said I fell in love with John. First I fell in love with John, and then I was like, but I really love Matthew. Yeah, I was just a goner. I really loved every minute of working with him and being around them, and it was just a really fun show to be on.
You know, so many people say, oh, they identify with Ferris, but I really think that if people are honest, they realize they're more like Cameron than Ferris, because there are some people like that who, you know, can completely, you know, fall into a bucket of shit and come out smelling like a rose, you know, and are so self-confident, as he is, that he turns all his attention to me.
Cameron, this is my 9th sick day. If I get caught, I won't graduate. I'm not doing this for me, I'm doing it for you.
He's great. He knows where he's going. He's great. He's like, my buddy's got some problems, and he completely focuses his energy on me, you know, so he's a great guy.
If anybody needs a day off, it's Cameron. He has a lot of things to sort out before he graduates.
At some point or another, everybody needs somebody to just say, you can do it, you know. It's okay. You're all right.
That's the thing people don't realize sometimes about Ferris. He was a great friend because he helped his friend liberate himself.
You don't want this much heat.
I want it. If I didn't want it, I wouldn't have let you take the car out this morning. It is possible to stop Mr. Ferris Bueller, you know. No, I want it, I'm gonna take it. That's it.
Ferris Bueller tells us we can all have a day like that. And you don't have to stop having days like that when you're grown up. You can have a day like that any day you feel like having a day like that. The secret is your own inner mobility and your own inner love of freedom. And that's what Ferris Bueller had. And the self-confidence that Ferris Bueller had. I mean, he was astoundingly self-confident. We all would like to have that kind of self-confidence.
So many people aren't like Ferris Bueller. A lot of people don't really do whatever they want. A lot of people are so restricted by themselves and by everything around them. You know, I think that the wonderfully attractive thing about Ferris is that he has no restrictions. He sets no restrictions on himself. He will do anything.
He had a lot of skills. He had good comic skills, and he had an enormous amount of confidence in himself personally. And that sort of impish quality that Ferris Bueller had, he also has, Matthew Broderick had. And I always like to find people who have qualities in their own character that are similar to the qualities in the written character.
Most people who recognize me, who say, you know, they tell me they love my work, but they say my favorite is Ferris Bueller. I do hear that a lot. You know, you want to say, well, I've done a couple other things, but I'm mostly just thrilled to be associated with it, to tell you the truth.